Today is Friday and it's Asked and Answered episode. Really excited to have all of you back today for our live show. And of course, really excited to continue to say thank you to our presenting sponsors. You see their logos on the screen. Yes, these logos are, multiplying.
Yeah.
So yes, and so we definitely have room for additional logos. So if you're a company or, if you're product or however, if there's something that you would love to tie into our show, reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you about our sponsorships, but please do tell our sponsors thank you. Let them know that you saw them here on the Nonprofit Show, and just say, thanks for all they do to elevate this conversation around the nation, for what they do in our sector. So thanks so much to all of our sponsors. Absolutely. And of course, thanks to Julia Patrick, CEO of the American Nonprofit Academy, for having this really crazy idea of doing a live, broadcasted show every single weekday. Julia, thank you.
Don't know what I was thinking on that one.
You were thinking, this will be a fun 2 weeks. And
that's true.
It's been a lot of fun. So thank you for allowing me to serve as your co-host. I'm Jarrett Ransom, CEO of the Raven Group. Julia likes to say that I'm her nonprofit nerd, but I'm also your nonprofit nerd and the nonprofit nerd. So there's my direct email address. It literally comes right to my cell phone. So reach out to me. Would love to connect with you and see how I might be able to help you finish 2020 strong and start 2021. Amazing. So with that, we do have a lot of questions for today. Many of them have come in throughout the previous weeks. And so we do our best, if we're not able to answer them live, to copy and paste them into a document that Julia and I then curate for, moving forward, as well as we have all these channels that they come in on. So Twitter has been one of our newest channels where we're receiving a lot of comments. Yeah, a lot of activity and questions. So welcome.
Well, and I have to give you a heads up. It's like a little secret insider thing. The Twitter feed is managed by none other than our fabulous executive producer, Kevin Pace.
Yes.
So
thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin, because you are a bold man indeed to take on Twitter, the Twitterverse. And so I think he just told me he's close to, I think, 1,000 followers that he, has cultivated and really pulled through this whole process. So we're grateful to him. And again, you can reach out to him. It's nonprofit_show. Anyway, okay, let's get going. James from Huntsville, Alabama. We are growing our development department. Actually, we are creating a development department. My question is, how many donors should be in each of our portfolios? I keep hearing different numbers.
Well, I don't think, Julia, that there is a tried and true best practice for this. So I would advise you, and in fact, James, I advise all my clients that I work with, definitely segment your donor group, and you can segment it by a lot of different ways, but figure out what works for you. The top popular choice is to definitely segment this by way of donor range. So what is their gift range? And this is really consecutively over a year. So you want to make sure that those top level donors that give the most to you, to your organization, are really being, connected to the top CEOs of the organization. So they might actually get some FaceTime with the CEO, executive director, with your chief development officer, or whatever that title may be for your newly formed development team. And then really figure out from there, okay, how many individuals are on your team, right? And so if you have a constituency base of, let's say 5,000, that's going to be a really different portfolio look than someone that has 500. So it really depends on what your constituency count is. And as you continue to grow that, so there's really, sorry, James, there's no tried and true, this is exactly how many you want, but you also don't want to have too many to which you cannot have, like really a successful and a knowledgeable relationship exchange with these donors.
I love what you just said, because you get to that point where the number's so extensive, you can't remember really, nor do you have time to pull everybody together and build those relationships. And as I keep, I always hear this in my head, you saying return on relationship, return on relationship. And
you
that
wanna
number
know
gets,
these people.
yeah.
So don't let it get too big to where you don't know them any longer.
Right.
In fact, my financial advisor said the same thing yesterday. So completely different sector, but he says, I only work with 50 clients, and that's intentional. He's older in his career. He doesn't want to be working his booty off, and he really wants to have that intimate relationship so that he knows the personal and professional financial goals of those clients that he works with.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah. I think, James, that was a good question. And, we need to hear back from you to see how this journey plays out for you. If you find that there's that number that you hit and then you just can't go beyond it.
And congratulations on the newly formed department.
That's huge, because all too often that's just, yeah. Okay, Jennifer from Reno, Nevada. I'm trying to put some fundraising goals together, and I'm looking at our donors in a few categories. I'm trying to determine what a major gift size would be, and from there, put those donors into different databases. What would be appropriate levels? This is so funny because it tag teams to what you just were talking about.
It really does. And I'll jump right into this one, Julia, because this is definitely my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So when I think of this, Jennifer, I really want you to look at your giving as is, right? So take a look at your gift history for all constituents, which means all donors. And you want to find out, are you receiving a lot of $25,000 gifts? Are you receiving a lot of $1,000 gifts? Are you receiving any $5,000 gifts? Like, really just figure out what are the levels in which you're getting, on a consistent basis. Take a look, because there is no one size fits all answer. Some of my clients, their major gift is literally $500. Other clients, it's $25,000. So it really depends on the size of the organization, the size of the gifts that you're receiving. And this is on like a consistent basis.
Right.
And here's something else. And I know, Jennifer, your question didn't ask this, but I'm going to tell you, your major donors may not know that they are major donors, right? I know. So when we think of a $5,000 gift and we're like, oh my gosh, this person, Julia Patrick, thank you so much. You're a major gift donor. And you're like, I am? Because perhaps for you or someone else like this, as an example, this isn't a major gift in their eyes, in their perspective. So this is internal language that we use when it calls to that title, if you will. So this isn't a public acknowledgement that you're saying thank you so much to our major donor at $500 or $25,000, because to the donor, they may not know that that is a level as a major donor, because and I'm on a roll here, Julia, and I'll be quiet in a minute.
No, this is fascinating.
These individuals give to other organizations. And again, that major level amount changes. It changes. So no matter where they give, the major level amount is different in all the organizations in which they support.
I love that you just said that, because I don't think intellectually I can recognize that, but I don't think that I've practiced that. Are we putting on the glasses?
I just got super nerdy with all of you. So I did. I was like, these first two questions are my favorite.
I need to get like a little sound, like rah, rah, or something, that when the nonprofit nerd puts on the glasses, pay attention.
Yeah.
That was great. And that was kooky that we had two questions so similar, but Wow, Jennifer, you just got schooled by the master. I'm like super
And
impressed.
talk to James and was it Alabama? I forget. I'm sorry.
Huntsville, Alabama.
Alabama. The two of you should chat.
Yeah, I mean, in completely different parts of the country. Interesting. Okay, this comes from Shell or Shelly. I don't know which how she says it. San Antonio, Texas. When we were doing live galas, we sent out invitations in 2 stages. 1, save the date, and then 2, printed invitation. Now, with virtual galas, we are not sure how to invite people. Any innovative ideas? Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the landscape is changing. It's really changing. But you have attended a lot of virtual galas and virtual events. What have you seen? Like what's shown up across your desk and your mailbox?
Well, I'm a big believer in still, I think during the pandemic, I think this, what, we call the snail mailbox, not the email box. I think that has become much more powerful, right? Now, a little tentative of use during the general election because we just had, so much being mailed out. But that aside, I think that save the date postcards are a great investment because they're an inexpensive way to promote a concept and a brand and get things out. Because it's a postcard, you can generally get what we call 2 up or 4 up on one sheet. So when you go out into the marketplace to buy printing, and you have to identify yourself as a nonprofit, because a lot of times printers will give you discounts or they have rates for nonprofits. I think it's a great investment, Jarrett. I really do. And it's a little bit old school, but I think that we're just so bombarded by email that it kind of makes you stick out a little bit. And so those organizations that have been doing that, I think they also plant the seed that this is real. This is an event. It might be looking different and it might be online, but it still is functioning as an event. And so for me, I think that's brilliant.
I would agree.
The printed invitation has been on a downward trajectory for a long time because we buy tickets differently, we register people differently, and they are crazy expensive. I mean, crazy expensive. So I'm really in the way, Shell, with going with the snail mail, still having that piece of it, but trying that postcarding system. You could do more than one. You could do the save the date, and then you could do, a follow-up. One of the things that we're seeing is that there's not this push to be the first ones in the marketplace to secure your date and get that paper, those paper invitations out, because there's so much competition. Back in the day with live events, you have to realize that as an overall strategy, you would have no more than about 32 to 33 choice dates. When you factor in holidays and things going on for the weekends, from graduation times to Mother's Day, Father's Day, all this stuff, you would be lopping off gala space event time, right?
And now we've talked about, with Jason at Winspire and so many other, like some of the auctioneers as well, that Thursday has become the new Friday, Friday the new Saturday, Saturday the new Sunday. So it really we have expanded, if you will, and really enhanced our event date options. So that's really great. Plus there's no travel, so in this virtual space, I love getting something in the mail. Postcard, perfect. I think that suffices and it's great. I can put it in my office, in my studio. I can see that visual representation. I might even take a photo with it. So if you can do something fun as a hashtag and you ask others to be involved and engaged in your marketing process, there's so many ways right now, Shell, in which you can really be creative and innovative on how you can use that marketing tool to expand your marketing by really, I say engaging others. Just like I went to Wendy's yesterday because We talked to the Dave Thomas, Foundation for Adoption with Rita Sorinen, and she was phenomenal. And so what did I do at the drive-through of Wendy's? I took a selfie and I posted it.
Oh,
I
Jen.
did. So it's
Oh
on my Instagram, Nonprofit Nerd. Check it out.
Oh, I love it. Good,
Yeah.
You rock, sister. You rock. That's awesome.
There's
Yeah,
so many fun things to do.
Yeah, and I think that, Shell, the thing of it is to tag to your point and just to reinforce what you just said. Don't look at this as a marketing opportunity just for that event, but for the whole organization, for your mission, everything that you're doing. You shouldn't just make it, a siloed event, gala mentality. I think that's old thinking. As my mother would say, stinking thinking.
Stinking thinking.
Thinking. Okay, now we have Howard from Seattle who writes in, and he said, oh yeah, this is a good one. I have a board member who just told me that holiday gift cards must be reported as income. This is something new and it would really add work to our HR department, which is me. Besides, I know, I'm like, sorry, Howard. Besides, our hardworking staff would be unhappy about this. Is this true? Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
If it's like, Brenda Blunt, one of my favorite people on the planet, managing partner with the national accounting firm Eide Bailey. She actually did a post on this not too long ago.
On LinkedIn, I believe.
Yeah, on LinkedIn, you're right. It was. And the thing that she writes about is that, if this is kind of like a one-off where you're doing something like from the board or whatever, maybe to celebrate something or to communicate gratitude or maybe even bereavement, that type of a thing. That's one deal. But if you're doing a full bore, this is going across the staff, we're going to give them all $100 gift cards to, the local supermarket or whatever, or you get those donated, that needs to be reported.
And I had never thought about this. And I have received gift cards from many employees, or employers, I should say, over my career, and never once did this come up in conversation. So Howard, this is true, and definitely would take a look at this, and then be ready for some solutions, like what would be some other alternatives, and really just make sure that your board is aware, because you definitely want to be in compliance. So I would say definitely, check out Brenda Blunt's post on LinkedIn with Eide Bailey. And again, they're a great, they have many offices actually nationally. And so they're a great resource for these kind of quirky questions that do come up.
Yeah. And if you're working with a payroll processing company, Howard, which I hope you are, you need to check with them. You need to check with the CPA firm that represents your organization or does the audits or, whatever. Get a couple different people to weigh in, document that. If you're not sure about it, go ahead and memorialize it in an email to them or just to yourself, send it back to yourself so you have a time stamp and date on it so that you are working with the most current information and transparency in case you're ever called to back on this. I hated to actually even put this question in because it's such a bummer.
It's a bummer for a lot of people, because I guarantee you, I did not know this until I saw it.
I know. And the other thing too is I think it's done in the spirit of helping people, especially in this time. You're not like giving out cards to, fabulous jewelry stores. A lot of times it's big box stores or it's supermarkets where these employees use it for the benefit of their families. So yeah, tough deal, but that's the reality as we understand it. Make sure you get that checked by your professional. Okay.
Good question, Howard.
Yeah, good question. And I'm sorry to even be the bearer of slightly bad news. Okay, Jacob from Rochester, New York writes in, we are looking at opening a store online. While we are a nonprofit, our t-shirts and swag seem to have a strong following. I think we could make some money from this. Others on our team think it is an odd idea. Will Julia and Jarrett weigh in?
Ooh, well,
Jacob,
thank you,
what do you
Jacob.
think? Of course we'll weigh in.
We always have opinion. We're happy to weigh in on any of this. You know, we've talked a lot about this. And in fact, Kay McDonald, which was on this week as a thought leader with Charity Charms, she really brings in a lot of knowledge when it comes to branding your organization, cause marketing, right? So really, Jacob, I would say figure out exactly what is the intention and expectation of this product. I don't even know all the answers for this, but now if it's merchandise, you may actually need to pay taxes on it. So things like that. So there's a lot of different nuances that you would need to consider because it's not a program that's tax-free. This would be considered merch in the hip world lingo of this, right? So merch. And so you really want to make sure that just like Howard, you are in compliance when it comes to, you know, your finances. T-shirts are really fun, you know, whether we wear them to the gym or hiking or wherever. A lot of companies, I can think of one of my favorite, I don't know if it's chain franchise, but it's a pizza restaurant here in my community. And they've got a lot of really fun slogans and they put them on shirts that the servers and the wait staff wear and they sell them. So it's really fun. And I think that, you know, as nonprofits, we continue to be creative and innovative and looking at some generic and maybe even competitive benchmarking with other companies in other sectors. This is certainly something we can consider, but you do want to, like, again, set your goals. What's your intention? What's your expectation? And then how might this impact us in a different accounting report?
Okay, I'm going to go off the board here. And I have seen this once, but I've never seen it on an online store. And I think this could be a super cool idea, Jacob. And if you do this, you need to send me one of these t-shirts.
We'll wear them on air.
I would do a t-shirt that says, this t-shirt cost me $500. And then I would sell the t-shirt for $500 or $1,000 or some crazy amount. And then it would be a fundraising mechanism. I've seen this.
Look at you.
I know.
Womp, womp, womp. Here's your glasses.
I need to look at a little piece of tape right here. Damn it. Why didn't I think of that? No, listen, I saw this one time with an organization that was doing supporting an effort. It was an outside organization, a support group that formed that wanted to help an organization. And what they did is they printed up these t-shirts, and it didn't say this t-shirt cost me $500, but everybody in the community knew. And it was kind of like a sexy thing, like, oh yeah,
you have this shirt.
You wore one of those shirts. It was like, it cost them $500 type of a thing. Really interesting. And so it became a fundraising mechanism for this group. And it kind of created this, like, if you will, mini giving society.
Okay, someone's going to do it because they just heard this amazing idea. I love that you've seen it done before. It sounds like you even had your shirt for yourself, like you had one of these shirts. And so, yes, I think it's fun, a phenomenal idea. And I love that. Good job, Julia.
Hey,
you're done for the week, sister.
I know. I think I am. Jacob,
hang up your hat.
I'm giving you that idea, and you better let me know how it shook out, because that was like a super cool idea. And like I said, I witnessed it in, IRL, in real life. I just have never seen it done through a store, but why not?
You're so hip.
I know.
IRL.
For an old lady, I'm pretty hip. Okay.
Darn.
I know. Well, hey, I am Julia Patrick. I have spent almost 60 years on this planet. And so it is a stretch for me to be hip, let me tell you.
And today's your anniversary. So happy anniversary to you and your lovely husband.
Thank you. 42 years. Or 41. Something in the 40s. I've been with Jarrett Ransom, the nonprofit nerd herself. Here's her contact information. Jarrett, I loved what you had to say today as you started off, bless you, with it's made her, she's allergic to the sugar now. What you had to say about major gifts and the fundraising, segmentation. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that. That was like super cool. We have a rockin' week next week. And without our presenting sponsors, we would not have these slate of guests on. So we want to thank them for sticking with us. Again, if you've got a question for Ask and Answer, you have 4 ways to get to us. And so send them on in, because we always have an opinion. And if we don't, that would be a shock, but we will research it out and find somebody, who can answer it for you. And again, that nonprofit show on Twitter is blowing up. So check that out. Also check out the Nonprofit Atlas. It's our resource directory. You can get to it directly, nonprofitatlas.com. Super cool place to find people that just serve one another within the nonprofit sector. Hey, Jarrett, great week.
It was packed. I missed one show this week, but that was intentional because I wanted to make sure there was enough time for everyone to chat and to talk. Great week. Absolutely. So glad to be here with you again, Julia. I hope that you all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weekend. And I hope to see you back on Monday.
We hope so too. And, as we like to end every show, remind everybody, especially as you go into this weekend, stay well so you can do well. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you back here Monday. Hey,